games to go, including this one tonight. Games against Providence, Cincinnati, and at Seton Hall, an RPI of 67. And Buzz Williams' team, again, needing to bolster their NCAA case. Joe Lunardi right now has Marquette as one of the final 8 teams in the NCAA tournament. For Buzz Williams, he's been changing things up lineup-wise. Eric Williams, a sophomore, will make just his 3rd start of the year. Junior Cadogan, only his 3rd career start, joined by Darius Johnson-Odom, the senior Jimmy Butler, and Chris Otule. For the UConn Huskies, the starting lineup a little bit different. Jeremy Lamb, Kemba Walker will start, but Jamal Coombs-McDaniel has been playing very well as sophomore in the lineup, along with Alex Oriaki and Charles Akwandu. Now time for our Star Watch. LaFonso Ellis for the Huskies. Guess who?
Guess who? None other than Kemba Walker. He's such an explosive scorer, John. The difference between him this year and last year is his poise and patience with the basketball in the paint. Really good shot selection this year. He's the guy that gets this team going. Underrated on-ball defender as well. For Marquette, it's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is an underrated inside-out kind of guy. Terrific mid-range game. Can really score it, put it down, escape dribbles, can guard 1, 2, 3, and 4 out there on the floor. Look for him to have a huge night for Marquette. George
Blaney will be the head coach tonight for UConn. He is their associate head coach. You remember the last time that these two teams met in this building, it was January of 2010. And actually, George Blaney filled in for Jim Calhoun, who was out on medical leave. There's Buzz Williams as he is in his 3rd year as the head coach at Marquette. And we get set to go from the XL Center in Hartford. UConn a record of 8-6 in the Big East, and Marquette at 7-7. Akwandu will jump things up for UConn, and it'll be Otule for Marquette. Huskies win the tip, and Kemba Walker controls.
Usually they try to throw the basketball inside to establish Oriaki early. Nice little back cut there by Lamb.
Great cut to the hoop. Walker found him, but Lamb couldn't finish. This is Junior Cadogan handling. Has come off the bench for most of the year, but again, this time of the year, Buzz Williams trying to put the puzzle together, so he continues to change his lineup.
UConn's exclusively a man-to-man basketball club. Really heads hard on screens.
Look at the big guy. Akwandu the steal and the throwdown.
John, they hit so hard on those ball screens that you have to be prepared as a guard or lead to a turnover, as it did there.
That was halfway down for Otule, and here's UConn. They like to push. And LaFonso, you think one of the keys tonight, Marquette getting back in transition D?
You have to stop that initial thrust of UConn. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. They're also going to have to control the defensive board.
Coombs-McDaniel knocks one down, and the sophomore burying the 3.
This is when it gets scary for Kemba Walker. He's not scoring the basketball, but he's such an efficient playmaker for this basketball club.
Jimmy Butler launches and hits. That's a 3 for the senior.
We said in order for Marquette to have even a chance to steal one here on the Huskies' home floor, Jimmy Butler has to have a huge night. Off to a good start so far.
Feed inside, and the left-handed shot will go for Oriaki. Alex Oriaki outstanding near the basket, especially as a rebounder. Otule, shot contested, maybe partially blocked. Walker kicks out, Lamb. And then Walker stepped in, deflected it. UConn basketball, great hustle.
We said in Jim Calhoun's absence that Kemba Walker would step up with his leadership, showing it by sacrificing his body on the floor.
Double team, they kick opposite. Coombs-McDaniel puts it on the deck. And then the pass deflected, it'll be Marquette basketball. Earlier this year, UConn with a win at Marquette, beat them by 8. A 3-3 tie all time. And we mentioned that game in January of 2010 when George Blaney was coaching. A game won on a last-second shot by Marquette's Jimmy Butler.
46 points coming from the UConn freshman Roscoe Smith, Jeremy Lamb, and Shabazz Napier. Terrific job up in Milwaukee.
Kemba Walker on the move. Walker feeding to Lamb.
Like to see UConn continue to get that basketball back into Oriaki, but he's going to have to read well out of the double teams because they'll clamp the post quickly when he catches it down low.
It's a very young UConn team. Obviously, Walker with experience, Donnell Beverly as well, and then Akwandu, but they play a number of freshmen and sophomores. The clock winds down. Here's one of the freshmen, Lamb. Lamb hangs. His putback wouldn't go, but Oriaki, the sophomore, puts it in.
One of the keys to this game, John, for Marquette is can they control their defensive board and limit the number of second chance opportunities that this UConn team gets.
There's a travel and a turnover. Let's go back to the other end, and UConn on the boards.
UConn's a terrific offensive rebounding ball club. You have to get bodies. If not, they find great angles to the basket to come up with offensive rebounds. None best in the country than Alex Oriaki.
3 offensive rebounds already for the Huskies. And UConn with a 6-0 points in the paint advantage. Walker gets away from Bikes. The elbow jumper will go. Averaging 23 points a game, the New York City native and National Player of the Year candidate Kemba Walker.
John Gardner's been playing well for them down in the post. When he catches it inside, he's got to make a quick move. Otherwise, UConn's length converges on him.
Gardner couldn't get it to go. Good rebound, Jake Crowder, and he's fouled. Crowder will shoot 2 when we come back. And when we come back, Andy Katz, our senior college basketball writer on ESPN.com, talk to us about the UConn sanctions. Back here at the XL Center, and UConn with the early 11-3 lead as we touch on the Open on Tuesday. Sanctions coming down against the UConn program. We'll get to those in a moment. Here's the timeline. 2009, an NCAA investigation. 2010, Jim Calhoun signs his contract extension. Then in May of 2010, both Pat Sellers and Bo Archibald resign. October of that year, UConn admits to major violations. And then the NCAA imposing penalties, including a 3-year probation. John Chambi, LaFonso Ellis, joined by Andy Katz here courtside. And I guess the first place to start, what were your overall thoughts as far as the penalties that were placed on the program?
Well, what the NCAA is doing now is they're really trying to look at coaching accountability. And really, SEC Commissioner Mike Slive kind of started this trend for the NCAA by suspending Bruce Pearl for 8 SEC games. Then the NCAA took somewhat of an unprecedented move by suspending Jim Calhoun for the first 3 Big East games next season, even though Calhoun was in front of the Committee on Infractions on October 15th, made an impassioned plea. And I know after talking to Jim, he really didn't think that he was going to get singled out the way that the Committee on Infractions did to him.
Basically, it was phrased as he fostered an atmosphere of non-compliance. Jim Calhoun stated he didn't agree with that.
Not at all. In fact, that his defense was that he had told his assistants to sort of stay away, distance themselves from Josh Nachumson, who was that manager/agent that was in the recruitment of 8 Miles. And it gets back to the basic point that this was a guy who had tons of red flags, and yet UConn still pursued him. He had a lot of baggage, and yet at the end of the day, it's a player they didn't need because they got to the Final Four, but cost them severely.
And again, if you're just joining us, Jim Calhoun not with the team. George Blaney is coaching tonight as Jim Calhoun is attending the funeral of his wife's sister.
And she passed on Monday, so that was before the NCAA stuff came down on Tuesday. And even though this didn't come out till Wednesday, I was told by UConn, he had made the decision before the NCAA stuff that he was going to miss this game because of her funeral.
And George Blaney with a wealth of coaching experience, including a year ago when Jim Calhoun went on medical leave. Early on here at the XL Center, Marquette, a team Right now, Joe Lunardi has them as one of the final 8 teams getting into the tournament, but they need to bolster their NCAA resume as Crowder picks up an offensive rebound, and they'll reset. UConn leading by 7. Crowder very good at shooting the 3. Butler pulls up. And a fight for the loose ball. There's Crowder on the offensive glass. 11-6.
He's usually a starter out there, John. He's been giving them significant minutes coming off the bench, giving them some firepower coming off the bench.
Now, Andy, when you look at Marquette right now in the resume, as of now, Joe Lunardi has 11 teams getting into the tournament. But what are your thoughts on where Marquette sits?
Marquette needs some more quality wins. There's no question about it. But in this league, they can get those. And it's interesting. Buzz Williams, the head coach of Marquette, he was asking Mike Broker, the associate athletic director, what does a soft bubble mean? What does that mean? Because he keeps being asked about the soft bubble. And so he's still trying to figure it out. And clearly, he is in tune to the fact that they are on that soft bubble right now.
I know that it's being talked about a lot that the Big East can get 11 in. There's a steal. Darius Johnson-Odom takes it away and goes the distance. Nicely done. Good quick hands. Just to finish the thought, I know people talk about the Big East getting 11. Do you think the Big East will get 11?
I think they will ultimately because of that soft bubble. There just aren't as many quality teams out there. But the problem is that people have to understand they don't look at Conference USA in the selection committee. They're not going to start counting how many Big East teams are in. Each team is judged individually on its own merit, regardless of conference affiliation. Clearly, though, those games in the Big East benefit to them because they're better games and higher power rating games.
Brian Kersey handling there one of our camera cords. Buzz Williams looking on, and his team down 3 early on the road.
You know, Kersey worked that game last night where he was in the middle of Tim Floyd getting tossed. The police had to get onto the court at UTEP against ECU.
That was a sight.
It was. Conference USA issuing a statement this afternoon saying it's unacceptable behavior. But it's twice now in Conference USA. Larry Eustachy of Southern Miss and Tim Floyd, his good friend at UTEP, both ejected, having the police come onto the court in a game.
Walker pulls up high, arcing shot. That'll go for Kemba, and he's got 4 points early on. John Shambi, LaFonso Ellis, joined courtside by Andy Katz. Take another look at Kemba Walker, a scoring machine.
Well, he hurts you in so many different ways, not only with his scoring, John, but he's an excellent passer. He draws so much attention out there on the floor. You have to be aware of what he is, but he's such a creative passer. Puts it right on the hands of his teammates, the ability to score.
Dono Beverly handling here. He and Walker kind of turned into the leaders on this team as Joseph Fultz fouls Alex Oriaki. Fultz didn't start this one. One of the things with Fultz, his knees have given him problems the entire year, and they've had to monitor his minutes and his playing time as Shabazz Napier checks in.
Talk about big lifts, John. Shabazz Napier has given them a tremendous lift off the bench, coming off, running the offense, allowing Kemba Walker to be able to play off the basketball, can shoot it with deep range, but really good in getting into creases as well.
Oriaki kicks opposite. Coombs McDaniel can't hit, and Crowder the rebound. Into the paint moves Vanderblue. The freshman is fouled, and 2 shots for Blue. All right, so Andy Katz, in the overall, what type of an effect will the penalties have on the program in your estimation?
Well, the key thing is there's no postseason ban, so it doesn't affect this particular team. There obviously are some setbacks in terms of recruiting, cutting down onto their official visits, only having 5. They're getting obviously a number of days off the road, and it obviously will be a significant thing when Jim Calhoun has to miss those 3 Big East games next season, although there's a chance they could appeal here in the next couple of weeks. And according to the Big East, by the way, for those out there conspirators that think that maybe they'll get a soft beginning of the Big East next season, the Big East schedule is not put together until Labor Day, after the NBA, after the NHL, because of all these pro arenas. So it could be Georgetown, Syracuse, Providence, or what have you at the beginning of the Big East next season.
And with that, though they can't be on the road, how much communication can they have with recruits?
They can still talk to them. I don't think the recruiting aspect in terms of the penalties would be that significant, especially for a school like this in the Northeast where you can get unofficial visits and kids come up from New York and Pennsylvania rather easily.
Blue, good quick hands, but Akwandu picks it back up and gives it to Napier. Shot clock at 14. Napier pulls up. Cadogan now pushing the pace, finds Crowder, who lays it in off the glass.
John, that's vintage Marquette basketball. They want to get out and run. They're not a great half-court execution team, but if they can turn you over or after made baskets, get up, take the first shot available. It's so good at getting into creases, drawing help, and making those kicks. It's been really good for them so far in this half.
Beverly in and out with that three. Vanderblue. Butler the rebound, and he's fouled. Timeout on the court. We take it with him. 11:27 to go. Andy Katz, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Carl, thanks very much. How about our Big East headlines? The big headline right up top. Marshawn Brooks breaks the Big East record. 52 points last night, but it comes in a loss to number 9 Notre Dame. We'll get back to that in a second. Chris Wright, though, undergoes surgery on his hand today. Broke his hand in last night's game, a loss against Cincinnati. St. John's playing such good basketball, 5-game win streak. And following our game, it will be West Virginia and number 6 Pittsburgh. How about Marshawn Brooks, LaFont? So you talk about a guy who's had a great year scoring and sets the all-time Big East single-game scoring mark.
I mean, I said about a month ago when I was in studio that he should be considered at least in the conversation for Big East Player of the Year. And, John, he does it in so many different ways. The ability to beat you off the bounce. He has a step back, can cross you over. This kid is an incredible scorer.
Cadogan will sit. White Bites checks back in. UConn by a deuce here. UConn coming off a loss at Louisville, 71-58. Trying to take care of business at home.
John, this Marquette team, they're primarily a man-to-man team, but they've been throwing in this 2-3 zone to try to slow teams down offensively. And so far, it's paid pretty big dividends for them in this half.
Another offensive rebound for UConn as they set it back up. And they get a block there on Dwight Bites. That's his first. ESPN, the home court of college hoop, continues with Saturday Prime Time, brought to you by DirecTV as part of Judgment Week, presented by the movie Battle Los Angeles. ESPN 9 Eastern, number 1 Duke taking on Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. Duke back on top of the pile after losses by Kansas, by Texas, by Pitt.
As if they were just kind of hovering around, right, waiting for their opportunity to come number 1. I tell you, when you talk about players of the year, how can you not talk about the year that Nolan Smith has had for Duke? I mean, everyone, when he took over the point guard position, they said that there's no way that Duke was going to be able to sustain the momentum that they got started with. But he had played the backup point guard position during that time, and I tell you, he stepped into that role, and he's really elevated his game since Kyrie Irving has gone out.
And I think on the surface, when Irving went out, if somebody had said they'd have another National Player of the Year candidate, most people would have thought it was going to be Kyle Singler. Fight for the loose ball. These two teams battling hard. Doug Schau says UConn basketball.
I think Kyle Singler is a different player without John Shire. John Shire did a terrific job of keeping everybody happy. He'd sit back like a John Stockton would and make big shots, but his primary role was to get everyone involved in the offense, and that's not there for him, and I think that's caused him to struggle.
UConn has gone cold. Just one field goal in just under 6 minutes.
John, this is not a good lineup against the 2-3 zone of Marquette that UConn has on the floor. With Akwandu and Oriaki in there, neither of those guys can shoot that free throw line jump shot. And because of that, now this zone is so much more effective. See if that UConn will actually make a substitution here to get a shooter at that free throw line position. It'll allow Marquette to have to play more honest in the middle.
Butler gives off to Bikes, who's been a very good three-point shooter this year, especially in conference. Good feed. O'Toole and one. Chris O'Toole will go to the line and try and finish off a three-point play.
Akwandu and Oriaki can at times have a difficult time guarding ball screens. That time lost sight of where O'Toole was. Nice solid screen by O'Toole in the roll. Oriaki has to come over and take the roll guy. Whoever the opposite side big is defensively has to come over and take the responsibility of the roll guy. Oriaki didn't respond quick enough, opening up that lane for O'Toole to go down.
And O'Toole does indeed convert the three-point play. He'll grab a seat. It's an 11-2 Marquette run. And the Golden Eagles with the lead. First lead of the game for Marquette.
Much better lineup offensively for UConn now, having made that substitution. Try to get the basketball in the middle via drive or pass. Look to score. Look to get into the short corners.
Napier can't hit. UConn stays cold. Marquette ball. Under 10 to go here in the first half. Pretty wild story as it relates to UConn. Unranked. Went to the Maui Classic, which was extremely competitive. Won the Maui Classic. Kemba Walker went berserk, and they went from unranked to number 9 in the polls.
And what's more impressive, John, is the ability to sustain it, to be able to sustain greatness over that period of time. And they're certainly in position to do some damage in the NCAA tournament.
Butler offensive rebound, shot blocked, out of bounds, and it'll stay with Marquette. I tell you what, big fella, it is nasty underneath the basket.
I mean, the reaction, the athletes that are on the floor, you have to give some kind of pump fake, but Jimmy Butler got buried underneath the backboard. It's very difficult to create any offense from that position.
Bikes pulls up. Walker does a good job contesting Bikes' offensive rebound. Johnson Odom into the paint. Floater off the window and good.
One of the keys coming into this game that I mentioned earlier for UConn is, can they defend against the dribble penetration of Marquette? Marquette's been able to break them down off the dribble and get in the lane. Buzz Williams wants to get 47 paint touches per game. They're on their way.
Walker off the mark. Offensive rebound there by Smith. That wouldn't go, and Marquette the other way. Johnson Odom, and they get him for the travel.
In order for Marquette, when they're playing at their very best, John, they're attacking you off the bounce. Darius Johnson Odom caught a lane pass Lamb, and he has all of the shots as he gets into the paint area. Nice little floater with the little soft little smooch off the glass.
I'll tell you what, the offensive glass, both sides have been very active. I mean, we're about 12 minutes into the game, already 14 offensive rebounds, and Marquette has 8 of them.
I mean, when you consider the fact that they're undersized, that's actually an impressive number. Oriaki and Akwandu, tremendous size down low for UConn. John, UConn can't let this 2-3 zone flatten them out. They have to get into that free throw line area and be aggressive at attacking it. Right now, they're very passive and flat.
Butler back to Cadogan. Crowder, he can hit it. And the rebound yanked down by Jamal Coombs McDaniel. UConn 1 for its last 11. Make it 1 for 12. And Oriaki is fouled. 7:31 to go, first half. Big game from Marquette, trying to pick up a win on the road. Back here in Hartford, and Marquette leading UConn 16-13. John Shambi, LaFonso Ellis. Is UConn trying to pick up a bye in the Big East tournament. Buzz Williams And Marquette trying to go to their 6th consecutive NCAA tournament, which is really impressive. Now, Buzz Williams only in his 3rd year. Tom Crean before that. From the corner, a 3 knocked down. It's Roscoe Smith, who did not start tonight. Instead, Jamal Coombs-McDaniel got the call.
He's a really good 15 to 18-foot jump shooter. You let Roscoe Smith get his feet set, he can bury you.
Cadogan able to turn the corner, gets into the paint, gets it to go.
When Cadogan has the basketball in his hands, John, this offense runs so much smoothly when he has the basketball. Such good decision-making when he gets into the creases.
For all of UConn's size, Marquette at 12-6 points in the paint advantage. Oh, look at Walker. Crossover was nasty, but he couldn't finish off the glass. And now they'll reset.
Once he was able to get by, John, I think he can take that shot a lot sooner. I think he's getting a little bit too deep, which allowed Otule to challenge that shot.
Smith couldn't get that to go. Crowder fighting for it. Eventually it ends up with Cadogan.
Going with a little horn set up here at the top. He'll come off either side with a little ball screen. A little double screen, and he's going to try to get into the middle.
Crowder catch and shoot.
Crowder's a 37% three-point shooter in league play, but Coach Buzz Williams told me that he'd like to see him get down low and get some close-in opportunities that can maybe open up his game from the perimeter.
Crowder's certainly strong. Soft touch on the baseline, and the freshman Vander Blue into the scoring column. Marquette has played very good defense. At times with that zone, it has frustrated UConn. Huskies just 2 for their last 15. ESPN, the home court of college hoops, a full slate of games Saturday. Action starts at noon in the Big 12, Missouri and K-State. At 2 Eastern, Dwight Hardy and the Red Storm of St. John's take on Villanova. College basketball presented by 5 Hour Energy, part of Judgment Week, presented by the movie Battle Los Angeles. ESPN on Saturday.
Can we just go ahead and pre-package the Coach of the Year in the Big East and just send it airmail to Steve Lavin with the tremendous job he's done over at St. John's? It's incredible the number of teams that they've been able to beat on their home floor. Duke, Notre Dame, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, they've had an amazing year with some great wins. Our former colleague, Steve Lavin, doing a very good job at St. John's. I think that in part because it's New York City, he'll have an advantage in winning that award. One guy that I think deserves some credit and consideration would be Mick Cronin of Cincinnati. Butler couldn't get that to go. And again, look at the work on the offensive glass. Otule, that wouldn't go. And Crowder tracks it down. And Marquette winning the 50-50 balls. Bikes and one. Dwight Bikes, a 42% three-point shooter. In conference, it's 48, and he knocks it down, plus the foul.
This Marquette team, John, has been known to go through long lulls. They went over 9 minutes in the last game at UConn without scoring a field goal, but they've been energetic and on the offensive glass, and it's the extra pass that they've made, showing great discipline offensively to get better looks at the basket.
Buzz Williams patting Chris Otule. Here's Bikes, who's gotten a chance to play some point guard this year. Good shooter, junior college transfer. One of the things with Marquette, and it is somewhat unique in the Big East, they have a junior college flavor to them, and that comes at least in part. Buzz Williams did a lot of junior college recruiting when he was an assistant for Billy Gillespie at Texas A&M. One of his stops in his coaching resume. A turnover there. Johnson Odom.
John, Marquette's ability to mix their defenses man-to-man, 1-2-2 zone, 2-3 zone has really disrupted the UConn offensive attack. They are out of sorts offensively.
Walker is bumped there, and it looks like Darius Johnson Odom got him. That's his first, and it'll be team foul number 6 on Marquette. I think UConn thought it was team foul number 7, but it's ball out of bounds for the Huskies. George Blaney, he is the head coach tonight. As Jim Calhoun not here, he is attending the funeral of his wife's sister. Blaney, of course, a tremendous coaching resume. And we get a chance to chat with him earlier during shoot-around. Walker touches. He had great things to say about Kemba Walker. I thought, you know, you hear a lot of coaches rave about their kids and what great people they are. There's Walker able to pick it up. Can't hit in a cold start for Kemba Walker.
Coach said that he's one of those guys that walks into the office and just by his presence make you feel good.
I thought that that was great without saying anything. Butler and one. And Jimmy Butler will go to the line when we come back. Marquette has been brilliant down low. Yeah, you're not kidding, Carl. You talk about a busy day of news and guys being shipped all over the place. One of the most interesting trades, the one involving Oklahoma City, as they were able to acquire Kendrick Perkins and ship Jeff Green to the Celtics. You guys will break it down at the half. Lots to get to.
John, that may be the biggest one out of them all. Kendrick Perkins is exactly what Oklahoma City needs. Somebody who's a rebounder, unselfish offensively, good screener, and just a tough low-post defender.
Largest lead of the game for Marquette. UConn started 5 of 9 from the floor. 2 of 17 since. Make it 3 of 18 as Jamal Coombs McDaniels knocks it down.
It's one of the first times, John, against that zone that they've gotten the basketball in via pass to the free throw line area and turned aggressively to attack, that time for the score. I'd like to see more of that from UConn offensively.
Coombs McDaniels has been hot. In fact, last 3 games are playing very well on the offensive end. And so he got the start. 16 his last game, 23 before that, 25 the game before.
And he's the perfect guy to put in the center. As you can see, turns around aggressively, looking to score first. If the defender moves up, usually that opens up the short corners to be able to make a pass, and then you can dive from that spot for easy opportunities inside. Good execution in the half court by UConn. Marquette continuing to mix it up. Now they're in the man-to-man after having been in the 2-3 zone the last possession.
Coombs McDaniel inside. And Marquette the other way. 8-point game, under 3 to go first half. Butler right to the rim. Oh, it looked like that was knocked out, and count the goal. Offensive interference, Brian Kersey on the call.
Yeah, I couldn't see it, was a little shielded, but I thought Oriaki actually touched that basketball, so I thought the 2 points should have been good. Tip the underside of the rim there. Should be 2 points for the Golden Eagles. Count it.
Walker finally getting going there. Been a quiet first half for Kemba Walker. Just 6 points. Johnson Odom feed inside, and Butler is fouled.
When you're playing against a Marquette team, they're so aggressive defensively that backdoor opportunities are there on the high side. Great step. We don't do that a lot today in college basketball, to be able to step up, to get the defender to adjust his position, opening up the backside. Good execution there by Kemba Walker. Terrific read and find underneath.
Butler rattles home the first. Kemba Walker, one of the things they do, they lean on Kemba Walker, but not just in terms of scoring. As you see history being made this year, 601 points. But the other thing, plays 37 minutes a game. So you got to be in shape and ready, and he has taken on that responsibility. Napier had a great look thanks to Walker. Lamb the rebound. And Coombs McDaniel hands it off to Walker. Fresh shot clock.
And John, to your point, Shabazz Napier's development allows Walker to play off the ball, that he can rest a little bit playing those big minutes. 37 minutes is a lot of minutes per game.
Lamb into the lane. Floater will go. 6'5" freshman from Norcross, Georgia. And again, George Blaney talked about how it's tough sometimes, the freshmen, getting them to be consistent. Timeout on the court. George Blaney's team trailing by 7 at home. ESPN, your NBA destination tomorrow night. 8 Eastern, Oklahoma City, the Thunder taking on Dwight Howard and the Magic. And then at 10:30 Eastern, Nene and the new look Nuggets face the Portland Trailblazers. ESPN's NBA Friday, also available online, ESPN3.com. The Blazers adding Gerald Wallace, so another deal that was made.
Gives them an offensive score, but another guy who's excellent defensively to be able to guard Kobe Bryant when they're matched up against the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm still fixated on saying the sentence, Nene and the new look Nuggets.
I tell you, they responded pretty well after that. After that big trade, losing two of their big players. Chauncey Billups is a big loss for the Denver Nuggets, but they stepped up and played well in their absence.
Marquette now 16 points in the paint. Feed inside and a takeaway. Vander Blue with it. The freshman will kick out. Johnson Odom, shot blocked. It's deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with Marquette. 3.7 the differential. Shot clock to game clock.
Jerry Lamb hustling back, taking away a wide open three-point shot from Darius Johnson Odom. You give him that amount of time to look at 41% from the three-point line in Big East play. He'll knock it down. Good reaction and effort there by the freshman.
Jimmy Butler has led Marquette. 11 points, 4 rebounds. You can make the case he is one of the more underrated players in the conference.
That's why we made him our Star Watch guy. I mean, he plays a big role, a steadying influence on this Marquette team.
Clock winding down. Johnson Odom to Butler. Pulls up and gets it to go. 13 for Jimmy Butler. And Marquette on the road needing a win to bolster its NCAA resume. The Golden Eagles playing well. Trailed 11-3 to start it and went on a big-time run to finish the half 31-12. Our halftime score, Marquette 34, UConn 23. Now we send it back to Carl Ravitch for the UPS halftime report.
Points and 2 in the break. They've really dominated the hustle areas of this basketball game, and that's why they have this 11-point lead.
Did a good job stopping UConn in transition. An air ball there from Darius Johnson Odom, who was asking Brian Kersey for a foul call. Coombs McDaniel can't hit. Lamb underneath. Both teams have been very good on the offensive boards. All right, here are our first half stats. Jimmy Butler, 13 to lead the Golden Eagles, 12 offensive rebounds for Marquette. Meanwhile, Kemba Walker, just 3 out of 8.
We said that Jimmy Butler is one of the underrated players in the country, a guy who can really get into the gaps. He has a beautiful little mid-range game, can offensive rebound the basketball. He's been good in every way. But credit Marquette's defense. They've not allowed Kemba Walker to get any airspace. They're switching on all of that screening action away from the basketball and not allowing him to get any easy looks.
Walker a 3. Kemba Walker averaging 23 points a game. And he's got 9 in this one.
It's important that Marquette, because they've had significant leads throughout the year, and only to have teams come back. In the earlier game, they were up 60 to 55 with 7:30 to go. Boo only scored 8 points to lose that game to UConn on their home floor.
Butler on the baseline. O'Toole offensive rebound, and he gets fouled. UConn's going to need more Kemba here.
When you can get this Marquette team scrambling, they're so aggressive on their helps, Boo. Basketball comes off the rim, they rebound it, move it around the horn. Vikes a little too deep in the painted area, too long of a run to be able to close down and close out Kemba Walker. Kemba gets his feet set and knocks it down.
As you saw there, Kemba this year has been better after the break as Jimmy Butler is fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
John, we spoke of those lulls to score long spans that Marquette has throughout ball games, and they aren't scoring. What's led to that, John, is they're at their best when they're moving the basketball around the horn, really reversing the basketball well and attacking off the weak side. When they don't do that, they don't get quality shots. They start shooting a lot of three-point shots, missing them, and those 2 areas have led to them really surrendering some big leads in games that they should have won, like this one against Connecticut back in Milwaukee.
That last foul on Jamal Coombs-McDaniel. Saw Niels Giffey check into the game, a freshman from Germany. George Blaney telling us that one of the things that'd be hard tonight is figuring out who to put on the court with all the freshmen and the inconsistency that can come with playing so many freshmen. Walker in and out, and right there, Akwandu couldn't hit, but underneath there's Giffey, and he puts it in.
He's an energy booster for this UConn team. He can hit some open shots, but he goes to the offensive glass well also.
O'Toole inside, shot block, and it's actually off of O'Toole. Buzz Williams can't believe it. Andy Katz telling us at halftime that Buzz Williams couldn't even talk to his team. He was so hoarse.
Akwandu doing a really good job, John, of maintaining the principle of verticality, not bringing his hands down as some defensive players do. I felt that was a good call by the baseline official.
Akwandu short on that shot, and that one tipped by Giffey out to Walker. Lamb's 3 wouldn't go, and here's Darius Johnson-Odom. Tell you, Marquette not short on quickness with the likes of Johnson-Odom, Bikes, Vanderblue. Here's Bikes. Akwandu kicks up ahead, and the 2-handed stuff by Lamb. Marquette calls timeout, and it's down to a 4-point game.
Transition starts with good rebounding and outlet passes. Terrific outlet by Akwandu. Jeremy Lamb showing us what to do with it.
Yeah, that's at the conclusion of our game, Carl. Marquette on the road leading by 4. Golden Eagles, as we touched on to start the broadcast, 7-7 in the conference. Joe Lunardi has them as one of the final 8 teams in the NCAA tournament right now, but they need some resume help. Butler off the window. Wouldn't go. Tule fights for it. Blue is fouled as he goes towards the bucket. They get Jeremy Lamb with that foul. It's his first.
I tell you, from Marquette being as undersized as they are against this very area of the Huskies, terrific job in the first half with 12 offensive rebounds. They're building on this in the second half. They haven't been able to make any buckets, John, but those second chance opportunities is what's keeping them in the lead.
Vander Blue, the freshman from Madison, Wisconsin. Originally committed to the Badgers and changed his mind. Marquette by 6. Let's see if they can get Walker more involved. Catch and shoot. And one. Kemba Walker buries that one. He's got a dozen down.
John, when you're guarding Kemba Walker, you have to be aware of several things. You have to know that they're always looking for him to pin down, and then he'll receive a screen coming up on that little curl action to the three-point line. Got hung up on that screen, did Junior Cadogan, which created that airspace for him to get that shot off and in.
That last foul on Jake Crowder, his third. So Walker, the 4-point play, second 4-point play we've had in this game. The other by Dwight Bikes of Marquette. This is Bikes with the basketball. Crowder. And a rebound yanked down by Lamb. Walker. Marquette 0 for 6 here in the half. Blue is fouled. So Marquette being more aggressive, trying to get to the line.
I tell you, Kemba Walker can beat you in so many ways off the bounce. He's an excellent distributor when he gets in the lane, but where he really excels is when they give him the basketball coming up off of screens. He does a really good job of setting his man up, John, creating airspace for him to be able to get shots off.
Timeout on the court. UConn down by 2. And Kemba Walker +1. Back here at the XL Center in Hartford, and Brian Kersey, Sean Corbin, and Doug Shouse right now looking. Watch the clock. The clock is not moving. And for about 23, 25 seconds, the clock did not move. So they're trying to rectify the situation. As you see, it's stuck on 16-14. And even still, not rolling. And there it starts to move again. So right now, the officials with a stopwatch and trying to figure out how much time should have come off the clock. So this battle in the Big East between UConn and Marquette. UConn trying to gain a bye in the Big East tournament. Meanwhile, from Marquette, just trying to get over 500, add to their NCAA tournament resume. After this one, games at home against Providence and Cincinnati, and then at Seton Hall. So for Buzz Williams' team, if they could grab one on the road here, LaFonso, it would be huge.
It puts another one on their resume that, in terms of the eye test, looks tremendous, and I think it actually puts them firmly at that point on the bubble, and they're in. And I tell you, John, they've come out with a real sense of urgency in this basketball game, really taking care of the little things, rebounding the basketball, diving on the floor for loose balls. But as you can see by their resume, they've already gotten quality wins against a very good Notre Dame team. They beat Syracuse, wins against West Virginia. But I think the most important stat on there is they have no bad losses.
Well, they figured out 24 seconds ran off the clock, or should have run off the clock as it was stuck. So Buzz Williams, his team leading this one by 3. We touched on it earlier. Andy Katz talked to the Marquette staff at the break, and the assistants told him they had to do all the talking because Buzz Williams was so hoarse that he couldn't actually communicate with his team. And Marquette at the break led by 11. That lead down to 4.
John, we should mark this. Marquette has a 38-34 lead. They've gone back to that 2-3 zone. Let's see if they can flatten out UConn again.
If I couldn't hit, and underneath Oriaki with an offensive rebound, but he missed point blank.
John, if you're Oriaki, you got to dunk that basketball inside.
Blue couldn't hit. Walker the rebound. Walker in traffic. Oh, and he finger rolls it home.
When he's on the bounce in transition, you have to load up against him to make him pick that basketball up. Marquette didn't, and he continues to drive as deep as he can until he gets resistance. Didn't get any resistance going to the basket on that play.
Vander Blue has given the Golden Eagles some good minutes early in the second half. 7 on the shot clock. Bikes. And the rebound ripped down by Alex Oriaki, and then he's fouled by Devontae Gardner.
Kemba Walker is lightning fast with the basketball. They rebounded, do a terrific job of trying to find him. He rebounds the basketball, and look at this. 3 Marquette defenders with the ability to make him pick the basketball up. They give him no resistance. He gets all the way to the basket, and that's what he does. He probes all the way to the lane, to the rim, until he can get some resistance. He'll finish or give it up. That time he finished.
Oh, there's the dunk from Oriaki that you were asking for. And we're tied up. Good look inside. O'Toole had it stripped away, but it ends up with Crowder. Point blank, he couldn't hit. Butler kicks. Crowder inside. No call. Smith able to save it. Giffey again. Gets that one. Last time UConn led, there was 11:59 to go in the first half. And a timeout called by Marquette.
Alex Oriaki, such a physical presence on the inside, John. When he's at point-blank range, he's got to finish. After missing one earlier, he knows what to do with that one. And when Kemba Walker's with the basketball, and I see this a lot in college basketball, you cannot leave the strong side corner. Jimmy Butler left it to try to go get some support. Creates too long of a run, John, to be able to recover. Giffey knocking it down from 3.
Well, Trevor Bayne catapulted himself to start it with a stunning victory at the Daytona 500. Now his first appearance back on the track. After that upset, he'll take on Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Danica Patrick as the Nationwide Series heads west. Coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Phoenix begins Saturday, 5 Eastern on ESPN2. Now, UConn has taken the lead, outscoring Marquette 18-4 here in the second half, and Marquette 0 for 10 without a second half field goal yet.
Tell you, John, we talk about the job that Marquette did in the first half on Kemba Walker. So far, UConn's done a tremendous job against their leading scorer, Darius Johnson-Odom, holding them to 2 for 8 field goals so far in this game.
With the foul on Butler, his first. 3 team fouls on Marquette, 14 fouls on UConn. Been a frustrating second half for the senior Jimmy Butler and the Golden Eagles.
Like to see UConn continue getting some ball screening action for Kemba Walker.
Smith fighting for the rebound and a foul underneath. No, they'll just say out of bounds. UConn basketball.
Kemba felt he got hit on the arm on the release of that shot.
And Walker goes down hard. He'll shoot 2. Darius Johnson-Odom charged with that foul. Kemba Walker at 6 points at the break. He's already got 9 through the first roughly 7.5 minutes here in the second half.
John, we know that he can score. We know that he can defend. What I've been really impressed with is his toughness. They list him at 6'1", but he's more like 5'10". And is still able to get in amongst the trees and be effective, explosive scorer.
In the first 2 years of his career, very good player. Jim Calhoun coming into the year called him one of the best point guards in the country, and he has just taken that next step. Worked really hard in the offseason, and he is helping to fuel this UConn run. 20-4 in just about the last 7 minutes. And Marquette needs to figure out an answer offensively. Bikes answers with a triple.
We said for Marquette to be successful in the half court, they had to get several ball reversals. The ball reversals forces this really good defensive UConn team to have to help, and it'll create openings for them to get off shots as they did there.
A field goal, the first of the second half by Marquette. Golden Eagles 1 for 12. The kick to Blue, he couldn't convert. And Lamb comes away with it, picks up his 9th rebound of the game. Well, UConn has rallied. The Huskies at home leading it by 2, 11:44 to go. All right, Carl, our game here. UConn leading it by 2. You're watching Thursday Night Showcase, presented by T. Rowe Price, part of Judgment Week, presented by the movie Battle Los Angeles. George Blaney, the head coach here tonight, as Jim Calhoun is away from the team. He is attending his wife's sister's funeral. It's been a tough couple of days for the UConn program and for Jim Calhoun. Kemba Walker fading away and hitting. 19 points for Kemba Walker, 13 in the second half. What would you like to see Marquette do more of offensively?
Get more ball reversal. What they're doing, as you can see, is once they set that screen, they're keeping the basketball on the same side. The defense never moves. They continue to stay loaded up against their offense.
Foul is on Lamb, his second, team foul number 5. Blue finding Butler.
Got a mismatch right now with Butler inside with Kemba Walker. Look for UConn to double it.
Oh, quick hands. Looked like Smith knocked it away. And where does it end up? And they'll say timeout UConn. Great hustle by Kemba Walker. And a big smile. What a great second half for the junior out of New York City.
He can beat you in so many ways, John. He has a tremendous burst in transition to be able to get to the rim. Not only that, but they look for him to set this little cross screen and then a down screen coming off, and he's been knocking it down. And then when they've been able to get offensive rebounds, all 5 defenders in the painted area, they've been able to find him. But this is where he excels, where he made a name for himself his first 2 years in a Husky uniform, the ability to be able to attack in transition. Kemba Walker is a complete offensive player, but he's terrific defensively on the ball as well.
And again, a guy who, for whatever reason, this year has been better in the second half, and that trend is continuing here tonight.
I think in the absence of Jerome Dyson, who was a tremendous Husky player, I think Kemba Walker knew coming into this year it would be his team. Put the work in and the effort this summer, and it's really been very good for him and has paid off in this season.
Oh, look at that. Flying in is Lamb with a tip and the deuce. Crowder feeding inside, trying to find Butler out of bounds. It'll stay with Marquette. They trail by 6.
Lamb is very quick off the floor, very athletic, 7'4" wingspan, needed every inch of it to tip that one in.
Lamb with 6 points. He's got 10 rebounds. That's a career high. The freshman group of Lamb, Napier, and Smith the last couple of games hadn't been particularly good. Butler had his shot blocked. Here's Napier. Shabazz Napier gives off, and Lamb converts. The freshman hook up there. Last 3 games, that trio combining, or I should say last 2 games, the trio combining for 16 points.
When you're playing against this UConn team, one of the things you have to take away is their ability to be able to score in transition. Shabazz Napier not quite as quick as Kemba Walker, but really good, great vision in transition. Lamb picking right up where he left off up in Milwaukee with 24 points against Marquette in Milwaukee. He's really had a solid second half. Offensive rebounds and scoring in transition.
Again, that lot of freshmen. Jim Calhoun and tonight George Blaney playing a lot of them. Very talented. So you can make the argument that Roscoe Smith, the freshman from Baltimore, would be the top recruit out of them out of Oak Hill. But Shabazz Napier and company have infused energy into this team. And tonight the Huskies have gotten 17 points from those freshmen. And they've gotten good minutes from Niels Giffey, who is not always a contributor for this team.
Yeah, he gives them energy off the bench, offensive rebounding, and is a pretty good standstill shooter.
Feed inside to Butler. Bikes, catch and shoot. Rebound ripped down by Oriaki. Feed inside, deflected out of bounds. Marquette basketball. This is a spot right here. The Golden Eagles need to be careful. Down 8 on the road. And he can't get it, let it get much bigger.
John, I like the fact that they're trying to take advantage of a mismatch with Butler on the inside with Giffey. The problem is UConn's doubling it right away. You have to get a cutter diving to the basket and forces 2 guys in the middle to have to play 3, and they can get an open shot on the weak side.
Johnson and Odom splitting the D, going left-handed, and then tumbles to the deck.
He's been quiet so far in this game. With them down now 6, he's going to have to be big. Both he and Jimmy Butler coming up with big baskets and getting stops.
There's a takeaway. It's Bikes, and they're going to go intentional foul. And I think the correct call, because Napier grabbed his jersey.
It's a really good call. Clearly, Bikes was out in front, had no opportunity to get a play on the basketball. Good call by the official. You can do that, John, in the NBA, but you can't do that in college.
Well, I think what Napier was turning around and looking, and I'm not saying he's right, but I think what he was saying was, I think he felt he had fouled him already, but they didn't make the call. And then when they didn't make the call, he realized he was going to end up giving up the easy deuce. Well, right there, Bikes can't hit either one, and that's pretty big.
66% free throw shooter in the Big East Conference. Boy, you get those easy ones like that, John, with all that's on the line. You got to make those.
Butler now on the baseline going against Giffey. Shot blocked, and they go to the possession arrow. UConn ball.
John, I really feel that Marquette's missing out on some opportunities, doing the right thing by posting Butler. But when he drives, anytime you get a baseline drive, you have to get a weak side baseline drift. And I don't like the spacing right now for Marquette on the last 4 possessions.
Lamb pushing it into the front court. Johnson Odom comes in, and then Bikes gets it back to Odom. Butler can't finish. Taken away. It's Kemba Walker, and Marquette with a number of opportunities and not able to convert. Smith. Rebound Oriaki, and Giffey will kick over to Lamb. They'll set it back up.
So UConn has done a terrific job on the offensive glass this game as well. Oriaki, such a good offensive rebounder, so strong inside, wedges you, comes up with those offensive rebounds.
UConn with 9 offensive rebounds in the second half, 19 overall. Walker to the rim, couldn't spin it home, and it ends up in the hands of Dwight Bikes. O'Toole rebound, lays it in. George Blaney calling timeout.
The Marquette the second half, boy, they've not shot the basketball very well, but you got to give them credit. They're not giving up on plays. O'Toole doing a terrific job of reading where the basketball's coming off the rim and responding, keeping that basketball from going below his waist and then exploding up and putting it in.
Marquette 3 for 20 from the floor in the second half. Wow. Golden Eagles have had some issues as far as blowing leads in the second half. See the loss at Vanderbilt when they were up, a crushing loss at Louisville, up by as many as 18, at Notre Dame, and then leads against UConn, Georgetown, and St. John's.
And John, for them it happens because the shot selection is not very good at the time and not taking advantage of opportunities that have been given. We've seen them miss 2 free throws. We've seen them miss a layup in transition, and you can't afford those. You can't afford those when you're down on the road, and certainly when you have big leads the way that they've had. That's how they've surrendered those, by not taking advantage of the opportunities that they've had.
Donnell Beverly handling here. He's got Junior Cadogan on. Giffey. They have gotten good minutes out of the freshman from Germany. And how about Niels Giffey with 7 points?
He's really playing his role well, giving them some energy and effort, spot-up shooter, and he's been able to knock him down.
O'Toole is fouled. Chris O'Toole will shoot 2 when we come back. UConn at home by 6. Back here in Hartford, number 15, UConn with the lead. John Chambi, LaFonso Ellis, and Fonz take us inside the play.
Kemba Walker can score in so many different ways, but one of his favorite plays is he comes down and kind of nonchalantly on the weak side. He acts like he's going to come to the basketball, and then he sets a cross screen over here, in this case for Giffey. Keep it rolling, please. Here for Giffey, and then he receives a down screen right here and comes off the top. The guard gets hung up. Looks like Cadogan coming off. No help quick enough, and he gets his feet under him so quickly to be able to knock that basketball down from 3, and they run that for him a ton.
Walker with 13 second-half points, 19 overall. And UConn with the lead as Otule rattles that one home, 54% free throw shooter.
John, that's a great story with Otule. Had an eye that degenerated as he was a kid, and of course had to have it replaced with a glass eye. So his ability to be able to knock down free throws has been impressive to me because it affects your depth perception. The reason he wears those goggles is to protect his good eye. If he loses that eye, he'd be completely blind.
Yeah, lost the eye due to glaucoma. Actually met a 2-year-old suffering an eye issue as well before their home game against Seton Hall, and that was special for him to get a chance to chat with that young man. UConn now leading by just 2 as Marquette makes a run.
We talked about Jimmy Butler's versatility to be able to guard 1 through 4. Look at who's guarding Kemba Walker out on the floor, 6'7".
Walker into the paint. Otule contests. And a tip, I'm not sure who got it. Oriaki raises his hand and said it was him. But back to a 4-point game. UConn with 18 second chance points. Johnson Odom, quick move. Bikes, uses the glass, nicely done. And he's got 11. And the other way, give 5, point blank, couldn't hit. Marquette can tie or take the lead with a 3.
And again, Marquette's at their best in their half-court offense when they're moving that basketball strong side to weak side to get the defense shifting, opens up those lanes for dribble penetration.
Bikes into the paint. Cadogan now. Butler. Jimmy Butler has been cold in the second half. They get a foul underneath. And that one is on Otule, and that is number 2.
In the absence of Darius Johnson Odom being able to score in the second half, along with Jimmy Butler, you need someone to be able to step up. White Bikes has done a tremendous job of attacking in transition. He's so good at putting the basketball on the floor, can change directions quickly. He's given them a tremendous lift in the last 3 minutes of this game, John.
Jimmy Butler, no second half points, and 0 for 5 from the floor. Still, though, Marquette trailing by just 2. Jeremy Lamb handling here. Lamb a 3. Out of bounds, Marquette ball. Well, 5:06 to go in this one. Big game both sides as Jay Crowder checks in. UConn is trying to improve their standing in the Big East, trying for a bye in the Big East tournament, and then for Marquette, really just needing to add to their resume. Games left against Providence at home, Cincinnati at home, and at Seton Hall. They're at 500 right now, 7-7. And Joe Lunardi has them as one of the final 8 teams into the tournament right now.
And I tell you, if I'm Buzz Williams, coach of the Marquette Golden Eagles, I'm only down 2 on the road with my best player, 3 for 11 from the field. He's got to be pleased with that.
Bikes inside. And they get the bump inside. Now we check out our kayak.com on the road, and Marquette's schedule the rest of the way. Providence, Cincinnati, and then on the road at Seton Hall, and then on the road for the Big East Championship, March 8th through 12th, right here on ESPN.
Tell you, John, most people would look at that schedule and say that they have an easy last 3 games of the season. Not so. Cincinnati coming up with a big win against a very good Georgetown team. How about only 12 field goals for the entire game for Georgetown?
Yeah, how about that? I mean, to watch that team struggle on the offensive end. There's Butler. First points in the second half were tied up. And obviously Chris Wright and the injury factors in there. Oh, Walker splits the D, pulls up. Giffey, big rebound, rolls it home. 9 for Niels Giffey.
John, we said that Marquette would have to control their defensive board. UConn's really gotten to that backboard, giving themselves some second chance opportunities in the second half.
Fultz to the rim. And Butler corrals that. Under 3.5 to go in this 1-2-point game.
Like to see Marquette really get the ball reversing here, John. It's been good for them. Forces the weak side to have to come and close out, and they've been good at getting in the lane.
Butler goes baseline. Cadogan a 3. Got it! Huge shot. Junior Cadogan. And Buzz Williams is fired up.
Dribble penetration, John, off the ball reversal, and then unselfish play, making the extra pass, led to that 3-point bomb.
Junior Cadogan making just his 3rd career start tonight as Walker rolls that one home. And UConn retakes the lead. And Jimmy Butler is fouled as he got the feed from Dwight Bikes. Timeout on the court. Marquette on the road, trailing by 1. Get some help. Junior Cadogan buries that. Buzz Williams loves it. Got a good one here in Hartford. And let's stay tuned for the Backyard Brawl coming up. West Virginia and Pitt. Butler at the line. Had a chance to tie it there and couldn't hit. Jimmy Butler, an 80% free throw shooter, but just 2 out of 6 from the stripe tonight. And we're tied up. 5 ties in this game, 4 lead changes. The story, UConn led early in the first half, and then it was Marquette the rest of the way. Walker to the rim. Shot blocked, but he's fouled. And they get O'Toole. John, they got Jake Crowder. Beg your pardon.
John, what's happened on the last few ball screens involving Kemba Walker, Marquette's done a poor job of hedging out, and the on-ball guard has to make sure that he forces Kemba to go over that screen. Kemba's been able to split to get in the gaps. He's been able to make baskets, and on that play, get into the foul line.
Walker able to hit. He's got 17 second half points and 23 overall. Closing in on 2 minutes to go. John Shambi, LaFonso Ellis here at the XL Center in Hartford. And UConn with a 2-point lead. Johnson Odom. 7 on the shot clock. Bikes. And a rebound pulled down eventually by Lamb.
John, we talk about those long rolls of Marquette's when they don't score. One of the problems that they've had, instead of getting a good ball reversal that we've seen that's been so good in them for this game, they get to go one-on-one at the top, as you saw there. That's not good Marquette basketball.
That one deflected. And then Walker stepped on the sideline. And Kemba Walker slow to get up.
Wow, John. I thought he was bumped on the sideline. Thought that should have been a foul.
Marquette basketball. Here's Butler. And a travel. Sunday night, Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, and the new-look Knicks out to prove they can compete with the league's best as they clash with LeBron and the Heat in Miami. NBA Sunday, ESPN 8 Eastern. It was electric at the Garden last night for Carmelo's debut, a win over the Bucks. Under a minute to go here. Walker can't hit, and a rebound pulled down by Crowder. Johnson Odom into the paint. Bikes a pull-up. And Lamb another rebound. Marquette going cold down the stretch.
Quick shots, John, with no ball reversal.
UConn calls timeout. Well, a tight one here at the XL Center. These two teams got together last year, and coincidentally, George Blaney was coaching. Coach Calhoun out on medical leave. George Blaney stood in. Jerome Dyson, he led UConn with 18 points, but under 5 seconds left, Jimmy Butler driving to his right, knocking down the jumper, and Marquette wins it 70-68. Marquette trying to pull off the feet again. Buzz Williams' team matching up with UConn earlier this year. And it was UConn getting the win in Milwaukee. 76-68. And again, for Marquette, trying to build their resume. That's just 7-7 in the conference. No bad losses, but an RPI of 67 and only 16-11. Now, there's so much talk about the Big East possibly getting 11 in. You can't say it definitively, but right now, I think you'd make the case that the 11th team would be Marquette.
Absolutely, John. They're certainly playing for that. They have a great opportunity to get a big road win that would just really allow their resume to really stand out. But if they can't get this one, I think they have to win their last 3. But again, with all these teams so bunched up in the middle, John, we could come down to a team making it at the end at the 11th spot due to the fact that they have split the series and maybe won a series against one of the upper echelon teams.
Niels Giffey, who's given them great minutes, inbounds the ball. Played over 20 minutes in this game. In the last 3 games combined for 18. And they get another timeout for UConn.
John, if I'm Marquette at the end of this basketball game, the one guy that you know has made big shot after big shot is Kemba Walker. As he comes over half court and starts to get ready to line you up, I would send an additional defender to get the basketball out of his hands. If you're going to go down with someone making a basket, I'd like it to be anyone but Kemba Walker and play the percentages.
5-second differential, 5.2 shot clock to game clock. We'll see how Marquette elects to handle it on the defensive end. Obviously, UConn is going to try and really run that clock late. So here we go. UConn basketball out of bounds. 20.2 to go in the game.
think at this juncture, John, with 15 seconds on the shot clock, 20 on the game clock, they're going to have to go after the initial steal, and they're going to foul if they can't get the steal.
And so here we go. Oh, there's a steal. Bikes has it. Johnson Odom. Johnson Odom puts it in. And we are tied. Walker pushing. Walker for the win. And we are headed to overtime. That would have been a ridiculous shot. As Walker went tumbling to the deck, and George Blaney went over and asked Brian Kersey about it.
And, Jan, that's why in these situations you don't foul right away, because when you're as aggressive as Marquette is and as speedy as they are, you always have an opportunity for a turnover. They created it there with a little stick hand in by Darius Johnson Odom. And on that right side where we just saw Jimmy Butler hit the game winner earlier, Darius Johnson Odom able to get to the rim. And Kemba Walker, the guy who you want to have the basketball in his hands to get to the rim. I actually thought he was tripped on his turn right there by Butler. I thought Kemba Walker's right foot hit Butler as he was turning around, which caused him to be off balance to take that shot.
So an extra 5 minutes. Marquette and UConn knotted at 59 apiece. Kemba Walker in the second half with 17 points. He's the only Husky in double figures. And on the other side from Marquette, Jimmy Butler, after a strong first half, 13 points, only 3 in the second half. Well, here is Kemba Walker.
Such a dynamic score. John can beat you in so many different ways, off the bounce, coming off screens. We've known him to be explosive in transition, as you see there, but he's got every shot in his arsenal, John. The ability to be able to pull off 1-2 dribbles, and he can hang in the air for such a little guy, 5'10". He's got a big ticker in his chest, John, always looking to make the big plays down the stretch.
This is the first overtime game that Marquette has played this year. UConn, meanwhile, 2-1 in extra session games. And, of course, that dramatic game against Texas, and then a brutal loss against Louisville, as immediately Darius Johnson Odom able to collect and then get fouled. He'll go to the line. And that foul on Kemba Walker, that's his first. 10 team fouls on UConn, 17 fouls on Marquette. Darius Johnson Odom getting the first, misses the second.
Wow, John, Marquette as a team has only shot 58% from the free throw line tonight.
We go to the possession arrow, and it'll be UConn basketball. O'Toole had the rebound but brought it down just enough that Walker could get his hands on it.
Bring that basketball down below your chin. You're putting it down for the little guys to be able to come in and feast. Kemba Walker taking advantage there.
Lamb now. O'Toole out hedging has been a big factor defensively. There's a steal. Odom, soft touch in the pull-up after that turnover by Lamb, and 11 for Darius Johnson Odom.
John, the end of the games, I know they like to play Kemba off the ball. You have to keep the basketball in his hands. He's the one who's been in this position before. Lamb's only a freshman.
Walker not able to answer, but Smith the rebound. Walker and one. He just doesn't stop.
He shoots the three, takes a little read, see where it is. He's always moving well without the basketball. But again, John, I've been so impressed in his ability, as small as he is, to go in and challenge the bigs, the ability to hang in the air, draw contact, and finish. Such a strong player.
Otule charged with the foul, his fourth. Crowder as well with 4 fouls for Marquette. And Doug Shaw's getting the bump there, and that's on Jimmy Butler. So Oriaki will go to the line for 1 and 1. And Fultz will check back in.
John, there's been times where Marquette has had the ability to extend the lead, but their inability to control their defensive board has prevented them from being able to do so. UConn has gotten offensive rebound after offensive rebound, second chance opportunities in this game.
Oriaki couldn't hit the front end. Bikes gives off Butler. Fultz on a great feed from Darius Johnson-Odom, who has dominated this extra session so far.
It's a great shot for Fultz. He loves those baseline J's.
Walker splits the defenders, and it ends up in the hands of Oriaki. Good fortune right there for UConn, and it's back to a 1-point game. Johnson-Odom. Fultz can't hit this time. Lamb another rebound. Jeremy Lamb with a career high dozen rebounds. Walker will pull up. And a big rebound by Smith. Fultz with the defensive board, and Marquette nursing that 1-point lead. Bikes quickly to the rim. Can't spin it home, but a putback there. And Crowder able to put it in. He's got 7.
I thought Roscoe Smith, when he got that offensive rebound in that possession, should have pulled that basketball out and allowed them to get in the offense to try to get a higher percentage shot.
Walker hangs and hits. 27 for Kemba. Johnson-Odom gets it to go. Timeout Marquette. Darius Johnson-Odom just been brilliant here in overtime. Buzz Williams' team leading by 3, 1:52 to go. Take a look at the Big East standings. Pitt in first place. And West Virginia, along with UConn, both 8-6. UConn trying to come up with a bye in the Big East tournament. Marquette at 16-11, 7-7 in the Big East, trying to pad its resume. Make the case to get into the NCAA tournament.
Now, Kemba Walker's played 41 minutes in this game. They can ill afford to have him out of the basketball game. Look to see if fatigue becomes a factor for him in the last minute 37 of this game.
Short on that shot. Butler the rebound. Butler's the only guy in the building who's played more minutes than Walker. He's played 42.
And the difference is Butler doesn't have to have the basketball in his hands all the time, running the offense as well as defending. Kemba Walker has to have the ball and defend.
Wow. Darius Johnson-Odom, the overtime belongs to him. 15 points. And they get the travel.
How good has Darius Johnson-Odom been in this overtime? I mean, he's really put this team on his shoulders, coming off aggressively, but he's taking really good shots, John. At times, he can be erratic and taking poor shots, but he's using the ball screens, getting in the gap, and shooting that low 15-foot pull-up.
Done a good job creating for others as well. And now they run some clock.
Well, John, UConn's going to have to get some pressure to try to create some turnovers of their own.
Johnson-Odom. Walker the other way. UConn down 5. And they get the foul there on Bikes as he hit Donnell Beverly. It'll be 2 shots for Beverly, the senior from California.
John, I love his effort that he brings to the basketball game. He's a combo guard, plays and defends hard, good, strong driver. 75% free throw shooter in conference play as well. Look for some full court pressure here by UConn. They have to try to create some turnovers.
Joseph Fultz, a couple of very big defensive rebounds. 5-point game. Got a foul here. And Beverly does. This would be a big win for Marquette to move over 500 in the conference, beating a ranked team. And there is still work to be done with 3 games left.
John, we've talked about how well the freshmen from UConn have played at times this season. Jeremy Lamb's done a terrific job on the boards, but 6 of 21 from the field.
Smith and Napier have had a tough night. Now, Niels Giffey has given him good minutes and had effect here. Smith can't hit. And right there, Oriaki puts it in. 15.1 to go. A 5-point game. And Darius Johnson-Odom is fouled.
Third personal foul.
Talked about Alex Oriaki, the energy and effort that he continually has out there. Good low block defender, but he is excellent on the offensive glass.
George Blaney looking on as he is acting as the head coach tonight. Jim Calhoun not with the team. He's attending his wife's sister's funeral. Well, Darius Johnson-Odom gets them both. With 5 seconds to go in this game, Darius Johnson-Odom had 6 points. He's got 11 since that time. As Walker hangs, can't hit. Out of bounds, it'll stay with UConn. 3.1 to go, but Marquette and Buzz Williams is still coaching his heart out. They're going to get out of here. The Golden Eagles will with a W, and a big road W at that. Marquette wins it 74-67. A very interesting game here at the XL Center. The way UConn jumped out to the early commanding lead. Marquette locked down defensively, took an 11-point lead to the break. And then in the second half, UConn came out and they put the lockdown defensively on Marquette, only to have this game sent to overtime. And the Golden Eagles showed a lot of toughness coming up with this win